Hello, people. And the government, Uncle Sam, has moved $2 billion of Bitcoin to Coinbase. Now, that's not why we're dumping today. We will talk about that in a little bit. Although, like I said, the fear generated from an event like this might be causing it to go down some and generate downward pressure. When the government moves like this, it generally does not mean they're going to sell on the open market, as we've seen governmental sales before. In fact, the last time they sold a stash of about 9,000 Bitcoins was last March, and the price actually went up that day, or at least remained neutral that day. So mainly they sell via OTC or via auction, which doesn't have too much pressure on the price. They don't dump all the Bitcoin all at once. This Bitcoin, for those of you that don't know, is indeed from Silk Road, seized from James Zong in 2022. And they haven't really moved it since last year. I think they have moved it again since they moved it to Coinbase, signaling they might sell directly to BlackRock or Fidelity or the ETF people. So it won't really have market impact, but there was quite a shock caused today. And many people have actually reported on this. So the crypto was seized connected to James Zong, who was connected in 2022 to wire fraud related to Silk Road marketplace. Basically, according to the data on April 2nd, the Department of Justice made a 0.001 BTC transaction to Coinbase Prime address right before, and then they dumped 30,000 Bitcoin, roughly $2 billion at the time of publication. So this guy sold more than 50K BTC in 2012. So this stretches more than 10 years back. In 2021, U.S. authorities raided his property and discovered hard wallets containing Bitcoin, including one on a single board computer that was submerged under blankets in a popcorn tin. That's right. That's where he hid his Bitcoin. And they actually sold, out of the 50,000, they've sold about 10,000, and they have roughly 40,000 left, which they moved 30,000 into this account. And at current prices, that's about $2 billion. If they were to sell all the 30,000 at once, it would definitely crash the price of Bitcoin, maybe to 50,000 or lower. But I highly doubt they're going to do that because that's just generally not what the government does. But this is really a case of old busts really haunting the Bitcoin price right now. I personally don't think this is such a big deal. It might dump it a little bit, or most likely it'll prevent the bull run from happening a little bit earlier than usual. Because the bull run, I think without all these things would actually start running like right now, but it might delay it for a couple of weeks or months as BlackRock absorbs this selling pressure from the U.S. government, or as they buy directly from the U.S. government so they don't have to buy other OTC or off the market. So I think that's the main consequence of this, not so much that Bitcoin is going to dump because the government is selling massive amounts of Bitcoin, because the government generally does not do that. They don't like to manipulate market prices all that much. And they do sell OTC or at auction. So probably not a huge thing right now, but it is a large chunk of Bitcoin. So it is something to actually pay attention to. Why we are going down today? It is obviously because of Grayscale GBTC. But there is really good news that BTC ETF activity has not calmed down, and the volume in March was triple what the volume in February was. So just because it's a month later does not mean that they don't want BTC anymore. So if you look at this chart, why we're selling, on April 1st, which is yesterday, there was a net outflow of 85.7. And the Grayscale outflow was 302.6. This is in millions of dollars, of course. And of course, the BlackRock inflow was 165.9. And Fidelity was 44, resulting in a negative 85.7 in terms of outflow. And that's why we went down yesterday. You can see last week where we generally went up, we had really big positive inflows. And then the week before when we went down, we had really negative outflows. So GBTC is still in the state of controlling things right now. The good news is Grayscale has sold roughly 46%. So they only have 54% of their funds left, about $22 billion left. Now, by these calculations, they should run out by about July, which actually, if you think about it, it does match up with previous BTC cycles. A couple of months after the halving, we really start going up. And this time it's because they're going to run out of BTC to sell at Grayscale, and I think BlackRock and Fidelity are still going to be receiving large amounts of buys. Also, I do believe there is a big psychological factor in the minds of many people that, hey, the bull run occurs after the halving, even though we already got the all-time high before the halving. The bull run occurs after the halving, so that's when we're going to buy in. And I do think this summer we're going to see a lot of buys. So Grayscale and BlackRock Fidelity are still dictating everything, but it is actually March Madness. If you look at the volume of Bitcoin ETFs, you can see here that January we had some volume, February we had more volume, but February we had more than January because February was actually a complete month of the ETFs, where January was only part of a month of ETFs because they only got accepted in mid-January. But however, both February and March were both full months. Then you can see March's volume is way, way, way more than February. Even if you take out the GBTC US equity, which is the orange right here, you take away the orange, and then the rest of it is still the inflows. So the inflows have been greater than the outflows for every month except January, and that's why we went down in January after. Basically, we went down in January after the ETFs came out because there was more outflow than inflow. But the rest, like February and March, we both went up both months because of the inflows being way greater than the outflows. And I definitely think that will continue. I don't know if April will be bigger than March because March's volume will be insane, but I do think it'll be better than February. And I do think the Grayscale selling will tone down because they are going to lower their rates. Grayscale obviously does not want to exit the market right now, so they got to save some of their money. But right now, the outflow will be complete, and Grayscale will pretty much be broke in July at this point. So they have to do something before then, which means they want to stem the outflow right now. From their fund into other funds. So yeah, it's not Uncle Sam bringing the market down. It is still Grayscale, and BlackRock and Fidelity are countering that. But I do believe in April, despite the selling going up from Grayscale right now, I think the buying from BlackRock and Fidelity will kick in as well. And I think other institutions are going to be going through them to buy Bitcoin very, very soon. So I do think April is going to be a positive month, especially because we are going to have the halving, but that's not what's impacting prices right now. People are not acting because of the halving. People are acting because of what the ETFs are doing. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.